Hey folks, what's up? Tony Paleo here with Music That Makes Us, and I'm here with
Mark Stevens, and we're so fortunate tonight to have the legendary Annie Brobst, local female country artist of the year.
Hi everyone. Hi guys.
Hey, Annie, we have a few questions.
Great.
So excited.
Shoot.
Can I mention the T-shirt first?
Please do.
I mean, so I have an Annie Brobst T-shirt on here, and I'd like to say that she actually thought she had to give me a choice of a black one that didn't have her face on it and a white one that did. So of course I'm going to take the
So
one
you're gonna take the obvious.
with Annie's face on it. I mean,
right?
really.
I might also add it's kind of a ghosted image,
Which is
quite
we'll
appropriate.
We'll be
We'll get
talking
there.
about that definitely. Yes, very good. I like. She's funny.
Annie, I've seen you around all on social media and so forth, but I don't know your history, and I don't know if everybody knows your history. Tell us your background. Where did everything begin? How did you get into this music game? We want to know.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I moved out to the Boston area. I guess it's been 15 years now, which makes me feel a little old.
Wow.
So I've been out, mostly North Shore too, for 15 years from Columbus, Ohio is where I was raised. I didn't really do a ton of songwriting or music or bands or anything there. Really did it out here when I got here. Got into some cover bands after singing karaoke and having a great time, letting loose a little. See what it can lead to there? I'm just saying.
I know.
So, yeah, I met some really awesome people, awesome musicians, started out in cover bands and then met my good friend Roger Hagopian, who's still in my band, and started songwriting. And I guess the rest is kind of history, but since then and since we really started releasing our own music, we've kind of just stuck with the Annie Brobst name and that as a band and an act, and no longer covers or tributes or anything.
So no covers, no tributes. You focus on the original.
We focus on that. That's not to say we don't throw that in for fun, or we have a special song that we connect to for some reason that is a cover. So we do throw them in, but yeah, focus is on our songwriting.
The songwriting.
Yeah.
Okay. So where can people find your material right now? Like how many? Like are you doing like a CD format? Do you do singles? The industry's changed, obviously.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
For sure.
You know, like it used to be the traditional, let's put out a CD/LP type of thing. How are you approaching your format right now? How are you approaching your fans with your material?
It's a good question. We are believers in the album format. We do like to have,
nice.
Yes.
yeah, we like
it.
singles to have a home. So we have released singles before. We have a few releases coming up, not solidified in stone yet, but there's a little teaser. We do have some new music coming, but we're gonna definitely do singles that will live on a full album later, and that's kind of how we've done it. So we started with an EP, which was 5 songs, and we've since released 2 full albums.
2 full albums. Okay.
Yeah.
Independent label, like on your own, like you're doing it yourself.
We are, yeah.
Would you like to be on a label? Like, is that something you want to do? Or you want to continue on your own?
I don't know quite enough about it these days to be able to make a decision until it's presented.
Right.
But I do have an awesome manager who knows a lot of the ins and outs of that kind of stuff. We have an awesome producer that we work with in Rockland, Massachusetts. Shout out to Sean McLaughlin. Yeah, awesome. He's cut all of our albums, so we plan to continue to work with him. It's just such a digital age, so you can do stuff. You don't have to be in Nashville or Texas or these, these really
not anymore.
Music cities. So we are doing what we can up here, but that's not to say I wouldn't absolutely love a record label deal or what that even looks like anymore. But we can cross that bridge when we come to it.
I know Mark's a fan of your live shows. Mark, can you?
Absolutely, I'd love to jump in. Actually, can I jump in on the record thing first, though?
Please,
before the live shows?
Yeah.
Because Annie and her band did something that I've never seen done before for their fans, and I was psyched because I'm a list guy. I don't know if all of Danvers knows that, but so she actually had us pick our favorite original of hers, and they went to a studio in New York, right? Mm-hmm. And they actually cut a single. So it's the only single of that song that exists. So they're not mass produced. She literally, her and the band cut a single of our favorite song for each fan that chimed in and and paid
Oh,
for the
really?
single.
Okay.
Yes, so I have obviously. I
And
have
it was a
single
record. It was a
Brobst.
vinyl.
It's a vinyl record, a vinyl 7-inch single, which
It's on a comeback right now.
Yeah.
every time I hear a song at a show that I still have on single, I'm like, I have that on 45.
Yeah.
I'm so proud that I still have 45s. I probably shouldn't be proud of it because it shows
No,
my age.
it's
Talking
cool.
about age.
It's cool,
Although the
man.
hipsters are, they love that.
They're
right?
going back,
They're going
right.
back to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And they did it. It was such a cool experience. They did it, they say, just like Elvis did it. You know, they were recording while we were just performing it. And if we messed up, it made the take real for
Yeah.
you. There are a few, clams in there, as we call them. But no, it was a really cool thing. And we could say at the beginning and make a dedication to you and say, hey, Mark, this is for you. And the whole band
So you recorded live. So from the musician
Live to
aspect.
vinyl.
Yeah, live to vinyl.
Live to vinyl.
Excellent,
it was
excellent. What
really
studio do you use?
So it was called, that was called Lista Vol, like Least of All.
Lista.
Yeah, but it was just spelled differently.
great.
Out of New York City, it was a really cool promotion they were doing. I think they still do it actually, so maybe as we get more and more new music out, we could do another run maybe. But it was a run of like 50. You could do 50 total vinyls, I guess, for people. So it was a limited amount of our fans if they jumped quick.
I
could
jumped
sign
fast.
up
I
for
jumped
one.
quick.
Yeah, you did. It was
You
great.
didn't have to ask me what my favorite Annie song was.
I
That
think
was
that's.
easy.
And what is that song, Mark?
It's Ghost. That's absolutely. It was the first song actually that Annie wrote. Did you write that on? I can't remember. Did you write that on your own or with Roger?
With Roger, yeah.
With Roger.
Mhm, yeah.
Roger Hagopian, by
Yeah.
the way, very talented guitarist and the second funniest man on Facebook. I just
Second
had to say.
funny-
I like
Yeah.
how they
So, I have a
falls
list for
into the
everything.
list. He falls into the list. Okay.
Yeah. I will say too, shout out to Ryan, my fiance. I wrote the entire Where We Holler album with him, so that was like a pandemic album.
Incredible.
While we were locked inside, we're like, hey, let's try to make good use of our time. So we wrote an entire album. That was our latest one. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And I love the balance between fun and serious.
Yeah.
And can I go into one other song?
Absolutely.
I'm so excited.
I want to hear about the
I love
material.
how much he knows.
I
This
love
is so
I
great.
love the balance because you have obviously Holla and Swalla Holla, which is a drinking song.
Yes.
But and although Ghost is my favorite song, the song that I think I've said this to you before, you're probably sick of hearing it, but since our audience, and since Tony hasn't heard it yet, the song that every single artist or band should do is Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
So that is a tribute to, because I want to know who influenced you, who came before you,
Yeah.
who influenced your style. And there's a song on that album called Amazing Grace. I'll always call it an album, but
That is an album, so it's
that's
okay.
a true album. And yeah, I don't know if you wanted to talk for a minute about Amazing Grace, but I just think every band should have that.
Yeah, you're always so complimentary of that, but I do find that when we perform it live, everybody kind of latches on to an artist they love or here and there, and it's a nice, engaging song, even though they've never heard it. And then we do kind of nod to the hymn Amazing Grace in it with some of the melody and the choruses. But it's just really some are living, some are not with us anymore, and it's a bunch of my influences and those greats that I grew up with.
Can you talk about that? Like, who are your influences?
Yeah.
What got to where you are now?
Okay. So some of them that I don't mention in there, but I do always say there should be a part 2. But I really hit like the classic ones in there, like the old school country. But there is some 90s country references, and there are some in there. But I really grew up, when I first started singing, I sat in front of my stereo with a CD. So that's when I first started singing. When I was a little kid, we had CDs with the pamphlets and not any, I didn't have tapes. Well, actually, maybe I had tapes for a little bit, cassette tape. So that shows you how old I am too. But I sat there in front of my stereo with the CD, and I would listen to Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, Whitney Houston, like the divas of that time. So the divas of the 90s or 2000s.
90s
let's
divas,
say.
yeah.
Yeah, love them. And then I started to, realize the country one. So then there's a whole line in there that talks about Reba, Martina, Faith Hill, and who's my other one? Reba, Martina. I'm trying to think of the order that we say them in.
Tammy.
Tammy's in there, Loretta's in
Yeah.
there, but that line, man, well, it's going to come to me in the middle of some other
No,
thought.
I should be able to
Shout
think
it
of
out.
it too.
Yeah, but those are really like the ones that I listen to country and learn. Oh, Shania, duh.
Of course.
Glad it came to me
Yes.
now. But those are like the queens of that era, you know, and still are. But nowadays it's like Miranda Lambert very much, Ashley McBride, Lainey Wilson has really come into her own. She's awesome. She was on Yellowstone and had a bunch in the soundtrack, but she also performs a lot with Hardy and stuff, and has a single with him, and we love him as a songwriter. So there's a lot of newer songwriters. That's why I think we need an Amazing Greats Part 2 to hit all those current. You're not going to
get an argument from me.
Yeah.
Have you been to Nashville yet?
I have. I spent a lot of time going back and forth when I was just starting this as a career. And now I have a bunch of friends down there that I still network with, but we just haven't had a lot of time to get down. Ryan, my fiance, has 2 little girls that are here, and we're trying to keep performing and keep that up. Sometimes we travel with it. So it just hasn't been, easy to get down, but again, it is that digital age. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and even just to go for the fun and the party,
you
I love
hang
it.
around Honky Tonk Row and check
Yeah,
out the studios
Broadway.
there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah.
Museums, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's so much.
It's the best recording studios on the planet. It really is.
And of course, it's a dream to hopefully get to be on that Grand Ole Opry stage someday. Yeah.
Little Girl Dreams.
That's right.
You're reminding me of all these great songs you've
I
written.
love that. He has all the titles. Mark can tell you everything you need to know.
I love Little Girl
Mark,
Dreams.
you know all the tunes.
And the live performances are amazing.
Well,
They
thank
really
you.
are.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
It's
I think
always
you've
nice
opened
to
up for
have.
some larger artists as well, right? So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course. So we just did some things with Josh Turner and Tyler Farr, big fans of theirs.
That's great.
Hardy was last year. It was right before I think he won Songwriter of the Year or something, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. His songs are great. He wrote songs like God's Country,
Yep.
those big hits for big stars.
Totally familiar,
Morgan
yeah.
Wallen's biggest hits are his. Blake Shelton, obviously. So he's just awesome. And then who else recently? Russell Dickerson we were with recently in Boston. So a lot of that new age.
What are some of these rooms that you played? Tell us about the rooms.
Sure. Big Night Live. We've done a few of those shows.
Oh,
That
okay,
was
great.
Hardy and Russell Dickerson. That's a great venue. Great
That's a
stage.
great venue,
It's
yeah.
a cool setup too. There's like all these VIP booths, and then this nice pit down in front, and then a bar off to the side, so you're not like
The house system is
interfering.
very modern.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's right next to the garden, so it's
Yes,
like right,
yeah.
as those escalators that go up to the garden. Let's see, where else were the venues? We were out at a festival recently, Country in the Country, out in Hadley, Massachusetts, with Josh Turner. So that was cool.
Country in the
Yeah, Country in the Country. It was
you
great.
there?
Well, I was not.
It was far. That was a couple hours away.
I don't consider Western Massachusetts anymore. No, I'm just kidding. It is.
So
but
Dragons live out there or
Hadley is-
something? Yeah.
Yeah. You sort of drive till you cry and then go 15 more minutes. Is Western Mass.
It didn't happen for me that way, but
I mean, I get it.
You were excited to play. so I
to
understand.
me, I get it. Past 495, it's like I think Dragons live out there, right? So it's fine.
yeah.
But
Lots of great venues around, especially in Boston, the North Shore. Some arrive and some leave, and so I'm just hoping for some of these ticketed original spots where our band can really find a home here around the North Shore, because this is my home,
Yeah, I mean it's a wonderful place, right?
Yeah,
It really is. What are the goals? Where are you looking to be? Where do you want the career to be within the next 6 to 24 months?
Yeah, I mean, I always, every time the clock turns 11:11, I hope that we're going to get our big break this year. I make a wish every time there's a double number
That's
on
when I
the
was
clock.
born.
Is it 11:11?
11:11.
Like the time 11:11?
yes, 11:11
Wow.
p.m. Sorry, I was like,
need to, like,
11:11.
keep
Wait,
you
where is
around
that?
for
This
juju.
is- And I'm 6'6". I was 6'6".
That's funny.
6 pounds, 6 ounces.
Yeah.
not 6 foot
I was like, are you that tall? Huh, is he that tall? I didn't realize.
Yeah, 6'6" and 11:11 p.m.
But yeah, I always
So-
wish upon a star and hope that, we'll have that big break that year, because sometimes it is that opportune, like it is that lucky, you just got to keep grinding and keep doing it and keep writing your next best song. So I think that's where our immediate 6 month plan
Maybe
is.
shop with a producer or so forth, like that
Yeah.
could produce you, maybe a Nashville-based producer. Not that you necessarily even have to go there, But that's one of the avenues that you could
Right, or shop to get your song cut by a bigger artist. Get into publishing and all of that.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing in Nashville, like the publishing aspect.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that all just starts with writing your best song. The best song you haven't written yet. And people have asked me before, would you let anybody else cut your song? Like, would you give your best song away to or not give it away, but would you let somebody huge cut that? And I'm like, of course I would, because I think it's a little funny too to say, oh, that's my best song, I want to hold on to it, when like you have so much more time left to maybe write a better one. So I just want to believe that our next best song is on the way, and I just got to keep trying, keep grinding and doing that, and then also make big waves up here in a little ocean, So
it sounds like you are.
Yeah.
We're trying,
Yeah.
so we just got to keep doing that too, and branching out, expanding to different regions around, and not being just North Shore based or Boston based, being New England based, and then getting out of New England.
Right.
So those are some goals that we've chatted about with our manager and band.
So you do have management at this time?
I do. It's a brand new. I say it's brand new. It's been about maybe like 5 or 6 months now. But yeah, it was our big step. We had been really picky up until that point because we wanted someone that could, do more for us than I had done for us already. Because I'm pretty outgoing. I hit up bookers and talent buyers all the time to try to book the next best show. I've gotten our records produced, all of that. So it was really somebody who could do more than what I was already doing, and I do believe he can. And he's younger, and he knows the ins and outs of this business, and he's ready for new release, so he can really help us with that and get a new trajectory for the new music.
So obviously one of the highlights of your band is the live performances. So now we're going to get a treat. We're going to get to look back at the Danvers concert series and the Annie Brobst Band performance from Wednesday, July 26th.
This next one is off of our latest album, and it's a little tribute we wrote about a lot of the country artists that have inspired our journeys along the way. And I know that we're due for a version 2 of this song to keep adding, because I feel like the list of inspirational artists out there keeps getting longer. But we really hope you like this one. It's near and dear to our hearts. It's called Amazing Grace. Told a story about Johnny, and Johnny, he sang about June, and who could forget about Dolly, that's right, who promised she'll always love you. Well, in the rhythm knew a thing about a coal mine and family, and family traditions, Hank's thing. So thank records for Faith Reba, Shania and Martina, and all of the greats who taught me to sing. 'Cause we once were lost, but they paved our way, and where would we be without amazing grace? Well, remember when Daddy, he let us drive that old Ford, and back when the king was just a young troubadour, and Alabama tells a tale about old Dixieland. And Tammy Wynette, she said, stand by your man. Oh yeah. Amazing grace, the melodies they made will carry them to our grave. 'Cause we once were lost, but they paved our way, and where would we be without amazing grace? Tell them something, boys. Come on. uncle's an angel who loved John Prine. He told me you live like I'm dying. The best song I ever heard, the best lesson I ever learned was always and forever be humble and kind. Amazing grace, the melodies they made will carry them to our grave. 'Cause we once were lost, but they paved our way. And where would we be without amazing grace?
You want to talk about her shows?
Did you
go to her shows?
Well, yes, I was. But it reminded me something. Of course, you know, I'm all over the place. So I got reminded of something else, and how much recognition, because you mentioned locally, New England, and beyond that.
Yeah.
But you've already gotten some big city recognition, right? Celtics games, Fenway Park.
yeah.
So I didn't want to let that go, because you're talking about
You're good.
37,000 people,
Yeah.
right? That's a pretty big deal, and I was at the game.
Yeah,
Yes. I
I
couldn't go to
was-
the Celtics one, but I was at the
So
Reds.
you were at Red Sox, Fenway?
I was.
Oh,
I
okay.
was.
Okay.
Yes.
What's
I
the
was,
capacity of Fenway?
37.5 or so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have to get,
The
I
list
usually
man.
like to be exact,
You-
37,
Oh,
right, the
45.
list man.
Yes, I'm the list man. Numbers.
Yeah.
He has a
man.
list for everything.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
That's
Every
great.
single thing. And on my way over here, I was thinking, Ghosts is actually my number, and I'm not just saying that because we have Annie on, because we have you on, but Ghosts is actually my #1 country song now of all
Oh,
time.
wow.
It
Well,
was,
I
it
feel
was right
honored.
in there with Goodbye Earl and River of Love by Juice Newton,
Oh,
who I
that's
grew
right.
up with.
You've been trying to
who
get
I've
me to
been
cover that.
dying for her to cover that.
That's
but
right.
I know you're not doing many covers now, but if you ever do a cover, I would love to hear that. But
I do have a
You know,
soft
you
spot
could
for Goodbye
phrase it
Earl, too.
a little differently. You could be like, how about a remake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
you know.
I think he's phrased it every way he possibly could.
Have you?
He's been playing
oh
this
my
angle
goodness.
for a
A
bit.
messenger. I said, yeah, see what you can do with this. See what you guys can work up with this.
It's so funny. We have to do it for him sometime. It just-
Juice is.
when you least expect.
She's when I started with Juice.
Yeah.
Which is funny because when I first met you, you came behind my chair at Mix, actually, a local Mix and Malden, and kicked it and said, "Hey, I heard you hate country music." Because I was telling her,
I
my friends that
love
were
it.
familiar with her, like Joe Clapp Jr., who works very closely
JCJ.
with her, that JCJ, our man, that my normal go-to is hair metal and so forth. And I said,
Yep.
I don't hate country. In fact, Juice Newton was my first love in music. River of Love, and then Angel of the Morning, and then she was the original crossover artist, Queen of Hearts, into pop. But
Wow.
see, I get off on a tangent, but I actually wanted to hear about Fenway and the garden. See,
You
but I'm
need
like,
to tell us about Fenway.
you need to tell us about the garden in Fenway. yes.
Well, we have also done Gillette, but that was for a Revs game, so we're hoping sometime to be
yes.
for Patriots.
Forgot
But
about that.
so I swore off anthems for the longest time because to sing the national anthem, you get 2 minutes to hit your stride, and it sometimes takes you 2 or 3 songs at a concert. So you have 2 minutes. You have to be in there, hit your stride within those 2 minutes, not mess up. Don't mess up the words. I always thought that they won't remember me if I do it well, because your name's up there for 2 minutes, and they're not gonna Google you in the middle of the anthem, right? They're not gonna go find your social pages and find you in the middle of the anthem, and then your name goes away as soon as you're done and the game starts, right? So they're not gonna remember you if you do it well. But if you don't do it well, your video will go viral. You'll be the worst
Absolutely.
ever. So I didn't see the value in it. But then I got the offer to do the Celtics first, and it was just kind of like, I can't say no to that. I think that was 19,000 people there the day we did it. And it was thrilling, and it was crazy, and it's a great thing to have videos and pictures and resume builders for. But it's also,
loves that.
yeah, absolutely. But it is also a huge honor to be trusted with those 2 minutes that are
Yes.
like, some would argue are the most important 2 minutes of the game. So I think you know, I just figured I had to try it. And then once you get one out of the way, you kind of feel a little more comfortable with it, or at least with the crazy delays that your ears are hearing and that you have to work with.
Right,
It's
the
insane.
echoes, oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's insane. Earplugs are your way to go, so you don't hear it at all. But then we did Fenway, and I was so excited to do it with Ryan. It was the first time I would play it with a guitarist. So he brought his acoustic guitar. And there was no monitor system or anything, you know, and they're not bringing speakers out onto the field. So we both were mic'd, but we couldn't hear each other because we were both plugged. You know, so
You almost need your own little mixer.
you
and
almost need just something that is feeding that to you.
playing some large venues. I mean, I remember, you know, you can have a 7-second delay.
Yeah.
Right.
Some
so
of the
it's-
delays
some of them
are
it's
crazy.
it's
Think of that.
ungodly. You know.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a thrilling experience. It still will terrify me every time I do it. I religiously sing it over and over again in my head until the moment I sing it. And I can't stop halfway or I have to start over in my head. So I'm very superstitious about it. And it's one of those things that like you just don't want to mess up. So, but it's a very cool experience. And
What are the other superstitions? Are you not one of the people like you get on a plane, you have to touch it first before you get on?
Yeah.
I do always touch it.
Do you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's not a superstition. I don't look at it as maybe it is kind of.
right.
Going to
Yeah, I
Nashville,
was-
I have to touch the plane.
I just,
I can't think of a ton of others, but I do like, some people don't like to eat before they sing. I love to eat before I sing. It has to be salty of some sort, and then I get a
Interesting.
lot of fluid before that. So it may be like an hour before
Well,
I sing.
that's
Yeah.
the musician side of
Yeah,
it, right? You know, like some musicians, like I don't want to eat before I play.
No, I need like that. I need a little bit of substance in my throat, and like, I don't know, it feels like my throat health feels ready and like charged up if I do that instead of like starving it. So,
right,
yeah.
right. You
Yeah.
definitely like to drink while you sing.
me? Always just water.
I'm, am I divulging secrets? Red wine on your mind?
Well, you know, they're not secrets if they're in songs that are released. So yes, I do
Yes.
have songs, Whiskey Colors, Red Wine on My Mind, Holler and Swaller, but
We don't judge.
yeah, you know, we have a good time. And where those things really came from was wondering why, trying to get to the bottom of like the Luke Bryans of the world and Kenny Chesneys, who are selling out incredible stadiums all the time.
Right,
And it's just
right.
because it's a big party. Everybody goes with a huge group of friends. They tailgate all day, and it's a big party. So I'm like, okay, we need to write some big party hits that make people want to come out, bring their friends, have a good time, be social, sing along, even if it's the first time they heard it. So make sure it's repetitive, catchy, and it's engaging.
That's huge.
Yeah, so
Huge.
we did write, you know, for the audience a little bit. There's definitely some that are very personal to our souls, but there's also some that are party tunes because
Right.
we're trying to still get to the bottom of bro country and why it's huge, you know.
That's wow. I never thought of that perspective. Of it.
Yeah.
I like I said, you have such a great mix of fun, party,
Yeah.
serious,
Yeah.
personal, but.
That's
a
thinking
great
of
thought.
the
That's
business
a
side
great
of it,
thought
too.
of this
There is-
business.
it is a
side. Yes.
business.
Yes.
That
You know,
helps
like,
sell tickets. They know.
How do
you
I
know?
keep my fans engaged? You
That's
know?
right.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and even brand new ones. I know people would walk away and say, "Oh, I loved that Red Wine song," or "Oh, I loved that Amazing Great song." And so you made the theme of it or the title of it stick into their head. So I just want to keep doing that, you know. Yeah.
It's always it's always like, what can people remember?
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's the thing. Like, where's the hook,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because the hook will keep them.
And a great story song is good too. Make Lemonade, I don't think is all that catchy, but it's a beautiful story that we wrote about the community, actually about the Daily Harvest in Danvers.
Make
Ryan-
lemonade.
Yes.
Mike's
right.
Hard Lemonade loved it, so they actually sponsored a run of a live virtual concert series that we did. We recorded the whole series at the Daily Harvest Cafe after hours. We brought in a bunch of stuff and recorded it and did like a virtual concert for people during the pandemic. But it's all about. It's inspired by Britt, who is Ryan's sister, my fiance's sister, my guitarist, songwriter, also fiance. His sister Brittany owns the Daily Harvest Cafe here in Danvers, and they had to shut down during the pandemic, just like everyone else, you know. And so it's just all about making lemonade from all the lemons everyone was served in that time.
What did you do to keep your fan base?
Blown away. Sorry.
No, that's
Because
that's all right.
I thought it was about exactly that, but I didn't know it was specific to Ryan's sister.
It's I mentioned
sort of
Mary, but she is our Mary, and there's
my
a fire
goodness.
that happens for this woman's dream to open up her cafe, and the fire is supposed to be the pandemic, because for so many it felt like that. Overnight, the place burned down, right? That's what it felt like.
Yes,
So,
yes,
all of a sudden you
absolutely.
woke up tomorrow and had to close.
Yeah, the world
Right.
stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would have been like, oh, these 3 weeks went to
Yeah.
what?
It
How many
just
months?
spiraled.
I don't even want to
Yeah,
get
it was
into it.
crazy.
But what did you do to keep
cool.
your fan base engaged during the pandemic?
So, all right, I'm looking at the time. I'll make this story as quick as I can.
Don't worry about it.
We realized there were a lot of artists starting to do live streams. And that people were tipping on Venmo and PayPal and whatever, and it was, and it seemed to be pretty successful. But I kind of was sulking for a week or two, because I'm like, what do we do? Every show, we had big shows, we had a whole plan. Actually, 2020, the turn of the year for 2020 was my year to no longer be a cover band and now be the Annie Brobst thing, and play original ticketed shows and really make a run for it as an original artist. That happened for 3 months. We sold out every show for those 3 months that we had booked. We had a ton of great stuff coming, and then the world shut down. So, of course, I had that moment of like, but then I looked around. We weren't as worse off or as bad off as some people were suffering with their health and whatever, and losing family members and all of that. So we had to pick ourselves up, and we started with a live stream idea. I saw a little meme online that said, put a drink in every room of your house and call it a bar crawl. And so I was like, oh, that's funny. What if we did a live stream show for like an hour in each room of our house and called it a tour? So we called it the house tour, and we were in the kitchen shaking spices for percussion, and we were in the bathroom. I burnt my behind on the radiator when it turned on mid-show. I shotgunned a beer in the bathtub. We did it into Ryan's daughter's room, and they got to choose the set list. It was the only room, I might add, that they chose no covers. It was a set list of all of our original songs. So that was awesome, and they were in there with the microphone as the backup singers. I got them all dressed up for the show.
Okay.
Then we did the basement, and my closet, which people love to see, like all the sparkly shoes and things behind me.
You like the sparkly stuff.
I love this. I love the showstoppers.
Can't tell by her boots
Yeah.
at all.
So we did that. We kept busy. It seemed like people were really loving it. Sorry, I'll speed it up. It seemed like people were really loving it. And then we brought it outside. So we started to do the shed,
was the house
fire
tour.
pit, yeah. And so it just kept going. And then our friend came by to help us take some trash to the dump, and he had this wooden flatbed trailer attached to the back of his Prius, and I'm like, maybe we could put a speaker on that and take this show on the road and go to neighborhoods and go to cul-de-sacs. So we ended up playing like 30 shows on the back of that trailer from July to October that year.
Oh, that's
Outdoor
hilarious.
Yeah.
shows, awesome.
Yeah, so anyhow, all right.
We want to know about all your socials. Where can everyone find you, Annie? Like, tell us
Yes.
everywhere,
That's a
every little
great-
strange, like
Okay.
little social media site.
Yes, all of them.
Okay, so we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. They're all at Annie Brobst, Brobst. I know that's tricky, but I'm the only one once you do find it. AnnieBrobst.com tells you everything you need to know. It's got the full schedule, bio, photos, videos, everything is there. TikTok is its own animal, but it's a lot of fun, so please come engage with me there. We're trying to grow that. And I just created AI Annie, so you can visit my website and you can ask Annie anything you need to know. Could be about shows, could be my favorite color, could be my shoe size.
Wow,
But
I
you
wanna know
can,
that.
visit my website, AI, and there's a little pop-up that'll say ask whatever questions.
We
So-
love it. Thanks so
This
much.
is awesome. Excellent.